show. So this week we have, for the kiddies, we have some knock-knock jokes. We have the Boston's Best Sports Argument. There's a good article in there. We have quips and quotes, and if we have time, we have some poetry. So let's start with the knock-knock jokes. Knock knock. Who's there? Quiche. Quiche who? Can I have a hug and a quiche? Knock knock. Who's there? Countess. Countess who? Does this count as a funny knock-knock joke? Knock knock. Who's there? Kenya. Kenya who? Can you open the door, please? Knock knock. Who's there? Shelby. Shelby who? Shelby come round the mountain when she comes. Knock knock. Who's there? Owen. Owen who? I'm owing you some money, so open up and I'll pay you back. Knock knock. Who's there? Les. Les who? Open the door and let's be friends. Knock knock. Who's there? No way. No way who? There's no way I'm going to just stand here, so open the door. Knock knock. Who's there? Nacho cheese. Nacho cheese who? That is nacho cheese, so give it back. Knock knock. Who's there? You. You who? You who? It's me. Can I come in? Okay, so we have a article. What's the best sports commercial ever made? Aside from talking amphibians and models mud wrestling in their underwear, nothing better sells a product than a famous athlete. Beer, shoes, deodorant, cars, soda, aftershave, fast food, coffee, financial services, cereal, video games, erectile dysfunction medicine. If an athlete endorses it, we'll line up at the store to buy it. We know it doesn't make sense. Just because a guy can take off on the foul line and slam home a two-handed reverse jam, it doesn't mean we can do the same thing if we buy his brand of shoes. But then again, evidently, we also believe that we'll suddenly become very attractive to extremely hot members of the opposite sex if we drink cheap beer, and plenty of it. So it's not that much of a stretch to think that Nike or Adidas can increase our vertical lift by 18 inches. Not all these advertising pitches work. The Pete Rose brokering commercial springs to mind. But many are so well executed that they leave a longer lasting impression than the table stains left by our beer bottles while watching the Patriots game. The Mars Blackman Gotta Be the Shoes commercial were the best work. Spike Lee had gone done outside of Do the Right Thing, while Bo Jackson's cross-training commercials, when is that Tour de France thing anyway, were better than his actual career. What's the best commercial featuring an athlete? Many would pick the Mean Joe Green commercial, where the lineman gives a kid his jersey in appreciation for being handed a bottle of Coke after a tough game. It's a great commercial, no doubt about it. Hell, we'll still remember it clearly decades later. The problem is it ruins Mean Joe's reputation. He goes from being one of the NFL's most feared players to a nice guy. That's not a problem with the best sports commercial, the Nothing But Net spot with Larry Bird and Michael Jordan for McDonald's, in which the two play a game of horse to see who buys a Big Mac. The two players start out by sinking a couple of easy baskets, then steadily expanding the degree of difficulty until they're banking shots off the scoreboard, over speakers, and even through a window from the parking lot. Eventually they are standing atop the Sears Tower in Chicago, talking about a shot bouncing off Michigan Avenue and over the river and hitting nothing but net. What makes this commercial better than Mean Joe Green's spot is that it takes the player's reputation as the game's best shooters and playfully enhances it. The commercial is so clever and fun that the only way to improve it is, instead of taking place inside an empty gym, Bird and Jordan are being watched by talking amphibians and models in lingerie. That was such a great commercial. Anyway, let's go to the quips and quotes for the day. Physicians. Some doctors tell their patients the bad news, man to man. Others prefer to send the bill by mail. There's a doctor in a small town in Oklahoma so old-fashioned he still calls a cold a cold. The only way you can get a doctor to come to your home these days is to throw a party. Most doctors specialize today, and the specialty of some is banking. His doctor advised a complete change, so he changed doctors. The quickest way to get a doctor is to turn on the TV set. A skin specialist is nothing more than an itch doctor. Is there any significance in the fact that doctors are generally described as practicing? The more successful the doctor, the less legible his handwriting. Penicillin is called a wonder drug because any time your doctor wonders what you've got, that's what you get. Politicians. Not everybody's been affected by inflation. We still have two-bit politicians. The smart politician keeps envy out of his voice when he accuses opponents of fooling the public. Political bumper stickers usually last longer than the politicians. Politicians are poor tippers. They're not as careless with their own money as they are with ours. No two issues are so far apart that a politician can't straddle them. An honest politician stands out like a do-it-yourself haircut. A politician approaches every subject with an open mouth. The election isn't very far away when a candidate can recognize you across the street. Another thing money can't buy is an honest politician. The only time a politician can't demand a recount is when his wife gives birth to triplets. How about politics? It takes two things to conduct a successful campaign: hot issues and cold cash. The most important thing in politics is sincerity, whether you mean it or not. The guy who never votes is the first to tell you what's wrong with the government. Political conventions consist of a donkey, an elephant, and a lot of bull. The whole purpose of any political campaign is to stay calm, cool, and elected. We've now switched from the New Deal, the Fair Deal, the Square Deal, to the Ordeal. When any issue becomes a political football, there are always lots of fumbles. The toughest part of politics is to satisfy the voter without giving him what he wants. In politics, a guy who is out to make a name for himself gets called many names. Baseball is different than politics. You're always out in baseball when you get caught stealing. Ha ha. Poverty. America is rapidly achieving a high standard of poverty. Friends are like a priceless treasure. He who has none is a social pauper. It's pretty hard to tell what brings happiness. Poverty and wealth have both failed. Wouldn't it be grand if politicians would find poverty was something besides taxes? The quickest way to win the war against poverty is to stop pretending we are rich. With today's extensive poverty program, the fastest way to get rich is to be poor. Poverty is a state of mind, says a philosopher with a full stomach. With just a little more help from the government, there'll be a fortune made in poverty. The real tragedy of the poor is that they can't afford anything but self-denial. Separate the greedy from the needy, and any poverty program will work. Prayer. To grow tall spiritually, a man must first learn to kneel. A hypocrite prays on his knees on Sunday and on his neighbors the rest of the week. People who do a lot of kneeling don't do much lying. If you would have God hear you when you pray, you must hear him when he speaks. Prayer must mean something to us, if it is to mean anything to God. Prayer lubricates the machinery of life. The mistake a lot of people make when they pray is putting in too many commercials. He who does not pray when the sun shines will not know how to pray when the clouds come. Don't pray for an easy life. Pray to be a strong person. Don't pray for an easy life. Pray to be a strong person. The tragedy of our day is not unanswered prayer, but unoffered prayer. Okay, let us move along. I have some new poems. I'd like to share them with you, if I could. Okay, here we go. Sorry for the delay. Broadcast. As a child, I was so meek and mild. It didn't take much to get me riled. Baseball took away thoughts of wild, helped me to survive as a child. Teenage came next, and I was left out. No more friends or family made me shout. With depression, I had a difficult bout. I cried, I suffered, and I started to pout. Young adulthood hit me hard at 20. Anxiety and depression came on me plenty. I had my first girlfriend, Miss Lois Venti. She left, and I lost my serenity. Middle age, I didn't want to get old. I changed my career. I was so bold. I learned new things. I was hot, I was cold. No matter the difficulty, I didn't fold. So here I am, over 60. It happened so fast. I hope for many more years I want to last. I still have my dreams, that'll never pass. To announce a baseball game, ah yes, a broadcast. Acceptance. I hope you can relate to this. Oops, little mistake here. Okay, we're all set now. Acceptance. The pain, it has passed. Others are attractive, oh, at last. My mind so lacks strongly in a cast. I know I'll meet someone. I hope it happens fast. I notice life like I never have before. When one's depressed, everything's a bore. Twilight, daylight, please give me more. The sun bouncing off the water, birds soar. This long depression has taught me things, like when acceptance comes, the joy it brings. So completely like Saturn's covering rings, the joy once only felt by powerful kings. I know that love is certainly grand. It is for everyone in any land, whether singing or drumming in a band. It helps your heart whenever you stand. So I move forward one day at a time and remember what's written in this rhyme and know that waiting is not a crime. Acceptance, acceptance, ring that chime. So you would think I would have these like all ready, but I don't. So bear with me. Okay. So I helped coach a Little League team this year called the Rockies. Go Rockies, we are the best. We play well when put to the test. Watch us win in the last inning, but now it's only the beginning. A big hit there, a nice play there. There's no reason for fans to fear. Pitching is great, now watch us go. We should charge to watch our show. We have so very many good hitters. Watch us go, we have no quitters. Defense is tough, see that great play. I'm sure the Rockies will win today. The playoffs are coming up fast, and we'll be the winners at last. Go Rockies go, you all play so well. You'll be strong at the bell. I know the champs we will be, and we'll be there for all to see. Go Rockies, we are the best. We play well when put to the test. Okay, so I go by 5 different names. They're all very much related to each other. Ricky, Rick, Richie, Rich, Richard. So first everyone would call me Ricky. And I thought that girls were icky. Baseball was all I could think about. If it rained outside, I would pout. Teenage years came up so very fast. I was known as Rick, but it didn't last. High school went by 4 quick years, learning how to face all of my fears. So I became a young adult, Richie. What would I do? What would be my niche? Worked hard, that's all that I knew. Others did drink beer, but I wouldn't touch the brew. Rich, not my money, just another name. Cared about others, not about fame. Quit my career, I never liked it anyway. 17 years, I put it all away. Became Richard, got into what I like. Writing, comedy, TV shows, helped my psyche. So Richard and all of the previous ones made me what I am now, the man of puns. I like that. I thought that was worthwhile to read. And so I have this book called E.G. Mackenzie's 14,000 Quips and Quotes, and my favorite one is the happiness quip and quote. For every minute you're angry, you lose 60 seconds of happiness. A shady business never produces a sunny life. If you don't enjoy what you have, how could you enjoy more? Happy is the man who renounces everything that places a strain on his conscience. He who forgets the language of gratitude can never be on speaking terms with happiness. All some people need to make them happy is a change, and most of the time, that's all a baby needs, a change. To be happy, do not add to your possessions, but subtract from your desires. Happiness is a result of being too busy to be miserable. It's a pity that happiness isn't as easy to find than trouble. Happiness is discovering that the slip of paper under your windshield is just an advertisement. It's not a parking ticket. It's just an advertisement. Oh, happiness is being able to live with gratefulness. Okay, so we have some more time left, and let's see. We'll do one more Boston Best Sports argument. What was the worst call in Boston sports history? More than any city in North America, maybe even the world, Boston has seen its professional sports teams unfairly maligned by game officials who are either blind, incompetent, or on the take. In some cases, all three. And if you do not believe this assessment, simply ask any Boston sports fan. The names of evil referees and conspiratorial empires roll off the lips of angry Boston sports fans, spat out with venom. Larry Barnett, Bill Friday, Jake O'Donnell, Tim Tashida. And yes, absolutely Ben Drafe, or Drife. What makes him the villain of villains in Boston sports history is not just that he cost the Patriots potential playoff victory in 1976, but that he also cost the then struggling franchise a chance to cement itself as a Boston sports institution, which, as things turned out, did not happen until nearly 2 decades later. But the Patriots seemed finally to arrive in 1976, after many years of being mediocre or horrifically bad. 76 Patriots were 11-3 in the regular season. Back then there were 14 games a year, and not the 16 that they have now. The Patriots, including a 28-17 dismantling of the Oakland Raiders in Week 4, and 2 teams squared up again in the playoffs at the Oakland Coliseum. Drafe, an official, and it might be Drafe, I apologize, an official from the original American Football League who moved to the National Football League when the 2 leagues merged for the 1970 season, was assigned to win the game. When the Patriots, leading 21-17 in the fourth quarter, Raiders quarterback Ken Stabler attempted a pass on 3rd and 18. The pass was incomplete. Here, Drake etches his name into the New England sports history books. He assessed a head-scratching, roughing the passer call on Patriots tackle Ray Sugar Bay Hamilton, resulting in a 1st and 10 for the Raiders at the New England 13. 4 plays later, Stabler went to his left to complete a 1-yard run for an Oakland touchdown. Final score, Raiders 24, Patriots 21. Replays of the heinous call proved that it was indeed heinous. Illegal contact? Not even close. Prior to the 21st century, Patriots winning 3 Super Bowls in 4 years, the 1976 team was the best in franchise history, with 4 Pro Bowlers, tight end Russ Francis, tackle Leon Gray, guard John Hanna, and cornerback Mike Haynes. An exciting scramble over quarterback in Steve Grogan, and a sturdy running back in Sam Cunningham. This was the Patriots' first playoff appearance since the AFL Championship game on January 5, 1964, and the first ever NFL playoff appearance. A Super Bowl victory might have ignited interest in the team. Instead, the Patriots were doomed to many more years of fighting to be relevant in the Boston sports market, which they did. As to Drake, he was done little over the years to soothe the feelings of the embittered Patriots fans. During a 2002 interview on the Dennis Callahan program on Boston's All Sports WEEI, Drake spoke reverently of his relationship with Raiders owner Al Davis from the days together in the old AFL. It was yet another bad call by Ben. Okay. We got some more quips and quotes for you. Don't forget, if you want to have something read over the air, send it to CCTV, 436 Mass Avenue. Attention, Richard's Variety Show. If there's something you wrote, a poem, or a short story, or anything you might want read over the air, I would be more than glad to read it, so long as it's appropriate. You can send it to CCTV, Mass Ave, Central Square, Cambridge, Mass. Attention, Richard's Variety Show. So, okay, so progress. Progress is turning the page. So, promises. What's wrong with this country is that you can't use a congressman for breach of promise. Lawyers should have a hard time making a living if people behaved themselves and kept their promises. The object of a political primary is to choose a promiser who will outpromise the other party's promiser. The object of a political primary is to choose a promiser who will outpromise the other party's promiser. When you break your word, you break something that cannot be mended. A resolution is always stronger at its birth than at any subsequent period. It is well to remember that the more you are promised, the less you should expect. A candidate's promises aren't really extravagant when you compare them to a bride's groom. If you kept every resolution you made last year, you'll probably be skinny, smart, healthy, rich, and bored. God's promises are like life preserved. They keep the soul from sinking in the sea of troubles. Just realize we don't have very much time here, so we'll save the quips and quotes for next week. And I guess we could talk a little bit about sports. Very disappointing that the Bruins didn't win the Stanley Cup. I thought most people thought that they could get past St. Louis. Some even said 4 games, 5 games. St. Louis played better. Congratulations to them. And let's see. Celtics, oh my God, what have they done? Kyrie Irving is the best, absolute best guard we have ever had. Tiny Archibald was fantastic. Irving is a little better than fantastic. He's gone. Al Horford, tough in tough times. Really tough player, especially in tough times. He could also hit the three. He's gone. Terry Rozier, probably the best backup guard in the whole NBA. He's gone. I hope that these new players who come from the draft, hope they can be as good as Tatum and I can't think of his name. Yeah, so that's how that goes. And baseball, oh God, I don't even want to talk about baseball. We had a big series in New York. We were 8 off. We went out 4 games. We're only 4 off. And football, what can you say? It's another year, another run for the Super Bowl. Tom Brady, it looks good, but that's only in warm-ups and so forth. But Bill Belichick is back. He can turn anything. He's like a football magician. So good luck to the Patriots this year. Good luck to all Boston sports teams and fans. And you know what time it is now? It is time to be kind to someone today. Do something nice for someone. They'll enjoy it. You'll enjoy it. If anybody witnesses it, they will enjoy it too. So this is Richard's Variety Show signing off until next